Two A-10 Thunderbolt Warthogs are on a mission to support ground forces fighting in Iraq on April 7, 2003. When they receive a call from a battle below, Captain Kim Killer Chick Campbell and her flight leader, Lieutenant Colonel Rick Bino Turner, dash towards a massive sandstorm that envelops the area. This is Advanced 33 Yard 0 to 5. In the northern section of town, my boys are fighting. It's Lieutenant John Cokeblocker. Grid is Mike Bravo 396990. The Iraqis have come to protect the strategically important bridge north of Baghdad, where his battalion has been stationed by firing rocket-propelled grenades straight at the American troops. Yard 025 and 026 inbound. Copy. The goal is obvious. The two Warthogs identify both enemy and friendly forces on their maps as they sprint in the direction of their target. Turner uses his space-stabilized binoculars to explore the billowing clouds of dust underneath him and discovers what he's searching for. A gap. He quickly flips his jet upside down, tugs hard on the stick, and vanishes behind the clouds. Campbell then hears him on the radio. "Alright, it's your turn, Casey." She follows him into the dust, initiating the same maneuver. The Warthog is shadowed as she descends. The planes are able to sight below after emerging from the storm. It's a huge battle, too. Between the city streets rages a whirlwind of tracers, smoke, and explosions. When the Iraqis on the ground hear the roar, they glance up and see A-10s coming. In return, their rifles are raised upward. They also shoot. Kim is startled out of her reverie by an explosion that occurs in mid-air back in the aircraft. A few yards from her plane, she can feel the tremor of anti-aircraft fire. On the radio, she hears Turner. Advanced 33, Yard 0 to 5 and 0 to 6 in the area. The targets are on the east side, beneath the bridge support. Turner radios that he is going in alone and is approximately a mile ahead. Yard 0 to 5, in from the north. Flying in from the north, he descends low over the sea. Despite being hit by enemy fire as he flies past numerous buildings, he still has some element of surprise, at least for the time being. As he prepares his attack run, Coke, their ground controller, sends him an urgent message over the radio. Yard 0 to 5 are ineffective. You must enter from the south to the north. Pulling up and regrouping, both Warthogs fly south and fly low over the river on a different approach. However, the Iraqis are aware of their presence now that word has spread. Campbell hears Turner's name on the radio. Guns, wedge, and shooters. Copy. As soon as possible, Campbell forms a wedge and prepares for her first attack run of the day. Turner has chosen to employ weapons rather than bombs, despite the seriousness of the threat. Both civilians and friendly forces are present, although the pilots must employ forward firing to go directly underneath the bridge in order to strike the enemy. Guns are more precise. They sprint in the direction of the bridge. They can't see the enemy sitting behind its shadow, but they know they are there because it emerges from the haze to the north like a ghostly apparition. One is ready. Two is ready. Turner fires first, and Campbell notices, as his A-10 fires 70 rounds per second onto the target. The battlefield is filled with a deafening roar. Then he arrives. It's her time now. She pulls the trigger. Her Warthog also flew over the Iraqis' position, avoiding the anti-aircraft fire, after her fire tore into the soil and bridge structure for 4 seconds. Hitting the whole designated area, Coke appears on the radio right away. Yard 0 to 5, no joy on target. We continue to take fire. I ask that the gun be fired at that target once again. They've failed. The Republican Guard was hidden by the bridge's broad surface and its supports. To avoid dangers like the A-10s, the Iraqis have taken refuge beneath the bridge. The two circle around and line up for another run in perfect formation. However, the Republican Guard is now waiting for them because they have poked the hornet's nest. Tracers begin speeding past the Warthogs as they fly in low along the Tigris River. The target is reached by the bridge. One is prepared. Two is ready. Turner fires a salvo at the hiding spot beneath the bridge. The enemy is forced to flee as shells fly in from a considerably lower angle this time. Campbell releases the power of her A-10 in precisely the same area as Turner arrives. The adversary is pinned down as the battlefield is once again engulfed by the roar of the rotary cannon. The loud scream of Campbell's Warthog roaring overhead is followed by a vicious series of impacts that tear through the concrete and ground. However, the outcome remains the same. No joy on target in Yard 0 to 5. They remain beneath the bridge. The American ground positions are still under fire from the Iraqis. Even the Warthogs don't seem to be able to reach the enemy's well-placed positions. The Americans ought to attempt something else. Turner and Campbell step back from the altercation and plan their next course of action. They decide to employ hydro rockets. They each have 12 little unguided hydro rockets. Stand by, I'll go first. Copy. Turner gets as low as he dares over the water and banks back towards the objective. Kim looks from above as her flight leader skims the river in the direction of the bridge. The A-10 must be facing the target directly because hydro rockets are only targeted by aim. While the targeting computer determines a shooting solution, Turner maintains his trajectory amid smoke and anti-aircraft fire. At last he can clearly see the target beneath the bridge and fires. In an instant, a barrage of rockets burst from their pods, sending smoke trails directly in the direction of the bridge. Turner is pleased to see a chain reaction of explosions. He is unable to see whether he has struck the enemy, despite the bridge being rocked. Negative, Coke says on the radio once more. Just made an impact on the surface. It didn't enter. Turner laments his misfortune. He gives Campbell the all clear to begin her offensive run. Cleared hot. 2. There are 2 coming in from the south. Kim leaps to her feet and assumes the role. She follows her leader's route, but the Iraqis have already witnessed the Warthogs perform this maneuver from the same location and viewpoint. They are undoubtedly prepared this time. The A-10 Thunderbolt is seen through the eyes of an Iraqi using a shoulder-launched manpad, as she quickly gets closer to the target. Campbell aligns her reticle and places it squarely beneath the bridge. She then pulls the trigger. Hydro rockets shoot out from beneath her wing in rapid succession, speeding in the direction of the Iraqi's hiding spot. She pulls up on the stick and banks to the left to avoid the anti-air fire as the blasts intensify. The Iraqi soldier finally locks onto the A-10 at that precise moment, as well as fires. A rocket speeds in Campbell's direction as a torrent of smoke rises from below. It screams in the direction of the escaping A-10 and detonates directly in front of her tail. She is powerless to do anything. The aircraft's nose drops downward, pointing into the city below, and she is pushed forward as she witnesses a blinding fireball engulfing her canopy. Oh no, 2 were struck. The Iraqis on the ground applaud. They acquired one. Turner notifies the ground of the situation while simultaneously pulling his aircraft back towards Campbell. Yard 0 to 6, Advance 33 is hit. We're trying RTB. Are you copying? Solid copy. Yard 0 to 5. Well, Kim, good luck. Kim. Campbell doesn't answer. Her Warthog is headed directly for the streets of Baghdad, which are under Iraqi authority, while she struggles with the controls. Grabbing the stick, she makes a valiant attempt to turn left and return to the American-held side of the river. However, nothing takes place. Her gaze flits between the instruments. The enormous flashing lights are on the panel in front. The master caution light is illuminated. Caution lights that are hydraulic. There is no hydraulic pressure on either of the redundant loops. She has no control over her plane's roll because all of the hydraulics are gone. She might either switch to manual reversion or expel immediately. Ejecting over the enemy side of the river is an alternative of flying a Warthog in this extremely risky and agonizing manner. I'm not leaving because of Baghdad. She decides to turn on manual reversion. She is now limited to using her own strength. She pulls forcefully up and to the left. Her aircraft responds slowly. It could take up to 150 pounds of force applied to the control handle too. Bring the elevator controls to the neutral position. She pulls hard with both hands, and the 16-ton machine slowly rolls to the left, removing her from the Tigris River's enemy-held side. Flare chaffs, flares. Is Turner's voice above the warning lights beeps. Turner frantically tries to prevent Campbell's plane from getting struck again while traces speed past the injured Warthog. She lets go of her defensive chaff and uses all of her effort to tug hard on the stick once again. She manages to get her jet above the storms and guides it away from the fierce combat below with incredible skill and effort. As she weighs her alternatives, her right hand gives up and she transfers control to the left. Only 3 pilots have tried landing in manual reversal mode during Desert Storm, and one of them perished in the process. Does she need to leave? Turner flies up beside her and interrupts her thoughts by coming over the radio. The base is still 200 miles away from Yard 0 to 6. In manual flight, how is she doing? Avoid pushing it. If you need to leave, please see the friendlies below. She recalls signing a waiver acknowledging that the G-forces of an ejection may kill her, and that ejection seats were designed for bigger pilots, usually men. Yes, Yard 0 to 5. Could you show me the damage? Back there. What do you see? Yard 06. Copy. Turner gives the smoking plane a stern look. As he scans the tail and fuselage, he notices hundreds of holes caused by the warhead's disintegration. There are holes all over the tail and fuselage, extending as far forward as the gear pods and even into the wing root. The right horizontal stabilizer has a hole the size of a football. Turner is startled to see flames flickering on the plane's tail as he turns to face the back. Additionally, there are numerous shrapnel impacts on the right engine. Does he have to tell her? He chooses not to. You have some improved ventilation aft, but it is still airworthy, he says in an attempt to keep her upbeat. Yard 0 to 5, copy. Campbell has made her decision. I'll take her home because I can handle it. I'll be by your side no matter what. In order to lighten the aircraft and prevent an explosion after a hard landing, Campbell dumps her weaponry over the desert. However, the heavy electronic countermeasure pod has been connected to the wing by the USAF. A pilot cannot abandon it. The plane becomes unbalanced, and landing manually with an ECM pod attached complicates and increases the risk of the entire process. During the hour-long flight back to base, she must physically combat the distorted aerodynamics. At last, however, the Al Jaber Air Base in Kuwait is visible. She uses the auxiliary handle to lower the gear. It seems like forever until the gear extender lights turn on. She is as prepared for landing as she can ever be. Emergency. Yards 0 to 6. Put down your gear. Complete halt. The Warthog is slowed by Campbell. As she approaches for the last time, it gets easier to keep her under control at a somewhat slower pace. There is one final surprise though. Her plane abruptly rolls to the left about 60 feet above the earth. She pulls the stick to the right out of instinct, her heart in her lips. She lands down on the runway a few seconds after the airplane finally returns to a controlled descent. God, thank you. As she recovers from the rush of adrenaline, the radio erupts with congratulations from all her other pilots. Surprisingly, she seemed unfazed by the entire experience, and Campbell would return to the air the following day. But her plane was irreparably destroyed and never flew again. For her airmanship, Captain Kim Killer Chick Campbell received the Distinguished Flying Cross. We also hope she likes this movie. She's arrived home. See how another pair of A-10s prevented Iraqis from crossing that bridge the day before by watching this movie.